Great, welcome back. It's now 11th day of February 2026. Good morning, it's a Wednesday. My name is Victor Olo. Welcome to the program. If you're just joining us, today being a Wednesday is a viewpoint, and let's take a look at what's happening really, excuse me, across the country, politically speaking, and so much more. All right, let's start by my guests already in the studio, introducing them, Engineer Crispus Wathimba, who is a political analyst. I'm seeing them for the first time this year, and yeah, so it's still safe to say Happy New Year, gentlemen. Crispus Wathimba, good morning.
Good morning and Happy New Year to Victor.
Good morning, welcome. Asante Sana. In the middle is Oscar Monde. Oscar is a political and governance expert. He's also a university don, dispensing knowledge.
Yes, ownership of knowledge. Good morning.
But you have to know that you passed through Sosion. So, relax.
Yeah, you know, Sosion is a veteran.
You see?
The English is speaking ideally.
No, relax.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Sosion.
All right, he's your senior. Okay, welcome, Oscar. Karibu sana. And of course, Wilson Sosion is veteran unionist and educator. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa.
Asante sana, Victor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're looking fresh.
Yes.
The year probably has started on a high.
Yeah.
Things are good on your side. Share the joy.
And of course, all of us should look forward to a very prosperous new year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And work hard.
And work hard.
It doesn't come easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let me start by the front page of the local dailies very fast. On the front page of the Daily Nation is Unholy Alliance. That's what I have here. Unholy Alliance is between the Council of Governors and the Senate. So there is that back and forth between the Public Accounts Committee and the governor, saying that there are some 4 notorious senators who are quote-unquote extorting money from the governors. And so it's a bribery scandal that has sparked a bitter feud between governors and senators, exposes underhand dealings and a conspiracy to defeat accountability. Governors have now vowed to name and shame corrupt senators who they claim extort bribes to go easy on audit queries. An extortion racket, they admit, has thrived for far too long. But senators have dared county bosses to make good their threats to snub watchdog committees, questioning why governors would actually pay bribes if they had nothing to hide. So who will blink first? You see how it can get. Engineer, who is going to blink first? It was sometimes back when the president also raised this matter in State House when they had a meeting, that he has and receives raw intelligence. So they say when a crocodile comes out of water and tells you that the crocodile is sick, an alligator comes out of water and tells the crocodile is sick, who are you to judge the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think wherever there is smoke, there is always this fire. This has also come out from the president in the past.
Yes.
We have had this kind of complaints previously, though in isolated manners. But now when you see the Council of Governors coming together collectively to make such a bold statement, it really speaks to the kind of rot we have in Parliament. But if you recall back in the 2014, 2015, when also money was used to save a certain minister who was about to be ousted. So that gave room for money to be used to manipulate the outcome of discussion or deliberations in Parliament. And that speaks to the quality of leadership we have in our country. It's very unfortunate that despite having the new constitution, which gave birth to independent institutions that are supposed to be able to provide the checks and balances for this kind of problems, we are not hearing any effort from these institutions to try and tame this rot which has happened to be there for quite some time. Even when the president mentioned about it and he said that he had received intelligence, we did not see some of these institutions moving very fast to arrest, to investigate, and to find out what this problem is. So it will continue being a circus in the media. Nobody wants to go to these institutions to report this matter. And Kenyans will just continue being entertained while we are still suffering because whatever is being bribed over is money or resources that have been lost or management of resources that has gone bad or work that is not being done in the right way.
Okay.
And we as a country, we are the ones who are the biggest loss.
I'll get back to the front page of the local dailies very shortly. Oscar, there is this, I mean, it's more of a ping pong. Senators are now saying that why are the county bosses not making appearances to the Senate if they know that they're clean? I mean, so it's pure politics. There's a story here on the front page. I'll come back to you, Oscar, on that. ODM crisis talks after Uhuru's Azimio move, okay? So it is said that there's a deepening power struggle between factions led by party leader Oburu Oginga and Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who is the leaders, are now making efforts to... There's a meeting actually in Mombasa today, convened, to discuss contentious issues. The National Executive Committee meeting comes amid reports that Mr. Oginga on Monday sought to stem an implosion following a largely successful rally in Busia by the rival camp. That is actually on the front page of the Star newspaper, which says that Oburu team plans to kick out Sifuna in Mombasa meet. That is on the front page of the Star. So there is a disquiet or a quiet push to replace him with the Governor Paulo Tuoma. That is Busia Governor Paulo Tuoma. Coming to that, but the question is, can Azimio change leadership without unanimous consent? And what is going to be the next course of action? Finally, Kenyans stare at death. That is on the front page of the Standard. Kenyans stare at death. There is a case of starvation because the drought has hit some parts of the northern part of the country, as millions across the country scrap leaves from trees and watch their livestock die. Children abandon school to forage. Mothers go without meals, and communities edge towards collapse. Power feasts in Nairobi. In State House meetings presided over by President, millions exchange hands, and opulence is broadcast for all and sundry. Calls to declare the drought a national disaster fall on deaf ears, with interventions from government haphazard to reaching the affected. That's on the front page of the local dailies. Okay, let's come back to the main discussion here. From what you can see, divided orange. Oscar, this was inevitable immediately after the death of Honorable Raila Odinga. But the question is, are we trying to see what the late Raila Odinga tried to stop?
Yeah, Chino Achebe wrote that when the center cannot hold, things fall apart. Center was Raila Amolo Odinga. It was a glue that put together ODM for many years. And when you have wings that are attached together using wax, don't fly very close to the sun, you will fall. Now, what I'm saying is that when ODM goes to, because there was no succession politics, there was no succession politics during Raila Odinga's time. You see, when there's a succession politics,
yes,
it goes without saying, people know who is second in command, who is third in command, and people don't jump ship. For example, for what is happening today in ODM, those are probably just empty threats. You cannot kick out the section, because one thing, after our 2010 constitution, we removed management of political parties from the internal messes within the political party, but it is mostly managed by ORP, the Register of Political Parties.
Yes.
That is where these things can be sorted out. And it's been a problem for many, many parties trying to kick out people. Like the problem also in Azimio. Azimio is registered, still the party leader of Azimio is registered, is Raila Amolo Odinga, although he's now deceased. But he has to be replaced. But now, there must be rules of how do we replace. Do you replace a leader who is dead through a formal letter, or do you do an NDC, or do you put the governing council together so that at least there are members who sat down and discussed and decided to replace. There must be rules and regulations of how some of the things are being done. And even management of political parties. Some of the things you can go to Kilifi and make pronouncements that we are going to kick out the SCG. It's not as easy as that, because those entities belong to the taxpayers. The taxpayer is a government entity. ODM and all political parties are sponsored by money from the exchequer, from government, and managed by registered political parties. Long time before 2010 Constitution, we didn't have that one. They were not sponsored by, they were not funded by government. But so long as it's funded by government, even selling Orange House, you can't sell it now. How do you sell it? Because it is not your money, not just members' money. It is part of the money, it belongs to government. It's funded by government. So the Audit General also have to check how that money is used so long as allocated to that party. Management of that party, a lot of it is done by the registered political party. So these changes are not very easy. Sometimes if you just make those changes, they must be ratified by the registered political parties so that they can be gazetted again. It's a long, long, long process. If there's a court dispute, they'll have to wait. There's internal party tribunals that deal with all those things.
Yeah.
If you go to ORP, the registered political party, they have their own internal tribunal for this political party. But only after you've exhausted the internal tribunal of the political party. We also have the tribunal court that deals with political parties tribunals. You need to go to court also to make sure that that tribunal, but also that court does not accept any issue from the political party.
Okay.
Unless the tribunal of the internal tribunal of the political party, somebody should go through discipline.
There is a NEC meeting today. Who wants Sifuna out and why? That is a question. Who wants Sifuna out and why?
The reason why they would want Sifuna out is because that
who?
way...
Let's start with who first.
I mean, you know, we have now factions within ODM.
Yeah.
We have the Linda Mwananchi and we have the Linda Ground. They're already divided. And now I'm told there's another one called Linda Comrade. So they're already divided. But they're different factions. This was how have happened before. You know, even in Ford, when it was breaking down, we ended up with Ford Asili and Ford Kenya at one time. Yes. And this one happens in political parties. There's KANU A and sometimes KANU B. And so will tell you even when he was running NAT, sometimes those functions are always there. When they have this function and they have this function. And sometimes they're no somebody at some level people even go and pronounce themselves as leaders.
Yeah.
Who are not the jure leaders, they're not legally elected, but they're de facto leaders within different functions. Because now the leadership is divided. So whoever wants Sifuna out are the people whom you will see in Kilifi, probably. And with the people who are going to Kilifi who are going to support Sifuna. For example, I think somebody who is the organizing secretary, is it the organizing secretary or the deputy, Ruth Odinga, she is a big supporter of Sifuna, as you get me right. And I think even Oburu Odinga himself would not want to see Sifuna out of the party.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them want him to toe line, but some of them feel that, oh no, it's enough, now you have to go. Because they want to be part and parcel of government, they're supporting the project arrangement.
Mwalimu, that could be the beginning of the real crack in the orange.
But before I talk about the orange, there was the issue of senators and governors.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you can pick it up.
It is of great national importance. I congratulate the Senate. In recent times, we've seen them carry out thorough public scrutiny of the audit queries from the Comptroller and Auditor General. I think what the general public should know is that what senators are doing and the Senate generally is to interrogate the queries of the Comptroller and Auditor General on misappropriation and abuse of resources by the governors. And governors to come out and threaten not to appear in committees because of alleged bribery. You know, in bribery, there must be a giver and the receiver. So governors are admitting that they've been giving out money to be received. That is what I ordinarily perceive. So I think this is not an easy thing for the country, and it's an indicator of breakdown of systems in devolution and in governance. And it may be responsible for the biting poverty at the grassroots. If really devolution is not working, and there is abuse of resources, as pointed out by the report of control of the auditor, Comptroller and Auditor General. So senators should crack their whip without exception. And I think governors should then be criminalized for all these audit queries. If you don't appear to defend your audit queries, then you should become an outright criminal who should go to jail. Otherwise, if we are going to engage in academic conversation and political conversation with very serious matters that has got to do with poor Kenyans at the devolved units, then we are not doing justice to this country. And 16 years or 13 years down the line in devolution, if governors are doing what they are doing with the opulence and with the stubbornness that we are seeing, then we are headed nowhere with devolution. With the ODM, ODM is still looking for its own equilibrium. It has undergone isostatic readjustment. The tectonic plates are shaking at the exit of their leader. And if they've convened internal organ meetings, then I believe those internal organs will be able to address the differences that we see them playing out in public here, that they're able to exhaustively address within their organs. And I want to believe the internal democracies of parties should be able to work, because the parties are instruments of the people of Kenya. They are not private properties of individuals. And so, being the instruments of the people of Kenya, it should be ready to bite the bullet and embrace internal democracy and thrash out their differences. And those who disagree with the positions of the parties, you ship out of a party. If you don't agree with a party, you ship out. Those are standard rules. So it's not something that really you have to massage. And what we are seeing are selfish personal interest and angling for position that is likely to split ODM. So I believe they should be able to take all those, their selfish interest, their personal interest to the table. And nobody can whitewash the broad-based commitment and arrangement by the departed party leader Raila Odinga with the president. There is that agreement, it is in place, and already ODM is part of the government of the Republic of Kenya. ODM has 5 ministers. Who doesn't know that? Everybody knows. There are 5 ministers from ODM. There are 17 permanent secretaries from ODM. And Raila Odinga said in 2027 we'll be vindicated, and going beyond 2027 we will be stronger. So the message of Raila was that ODM engages in a coalition with the Kenya Kwanza. And I think Oburu Odinga is providing the right leadership. And I think those with other selfish personal interests are trying to think otherwise, but then deal with it at the party organ.
We take a break. It's 7:30. When you come back, we still have around 30 minutes to discuss about this, because after that meeting, that is going to be held in Mombasa, it's going to form the basis of how the Orange Party is going to move. You know, Sifuna has been raising a lot of questions when it comes to the 10-point agenda. You know, time is coming to an end. So let's wait and see how it's going to be. More of this discussion coming shortly after this. Stay with us. And welcome back. If you're just joining us, Engineer Crispus Wathimba, political analyst, joined me on set. Wilson Sosion, veteran unionist and educator, also on set, as well as Oscar Mondi, political and governance expert. He's also a university lecturer. Gentlemen, we are here. Now, there's been a lot of noise, more so in the Orange Party. But Crispus, once this is done, let's just hypothetically speaking, a day after this resolution will be done today. So what are we expecting from tomorrow?
Definitely.
I think it should be, maybe, could it be so soon to predict?
Definitely agreeing with what Oscar said. When the center fails to hold, things fall apart. Probably the only option the party has is to look for a new center. And if that center is not with Sifuna or Oburu Odinga or any other faction, then there'll be no party. So the party has an existential threat where it needs to find a new center. And if that center means a coalition with UDA will give it the relevance it requires to continue existing as a party, then the party delegates must have to make a very difficult decision. And that's why it's important that the conversations that will happen today, overall, there has to be bringing together of members of the party to make an important decision on the way forward of the party. The National Delegates Convention of that party is unavoidable. Now, whoever will control the conversation in that NDC will now be able to shape how the center looks like in future. But as we are speaking today, the center is not holding. The party is about to fall. You've seen the rally that ODM led by Sifuna held in Busia. We have seen how the Linda Ground movement is moving forward. Money is being poured. Factions are taking hardline positions. But there has to be a point where if we have to retain this party as it were for the last 20 years, then somebody has to leave that party and the others have to remain. Yes.
What if somebody doesn't leave the party?
The party will break down.
Because even before the demise of Raila Odinga, the party was still intact with the current officials.
The party has to find a center, and Raila was that center. So who is that center that can continue holding the party despite the divergent views that continue to exist? When there were divergent views with Raila, he was able to bring people together and they would reason. Right now, it seems the Buru is failing to do that. Sifuna is taking a hardline position. Orengo is taking a hardline position. Glad is taking a hard position. Even the ministers who are in government, who are part of ODM, are also trying to take a position because they know 2027, they need a party to work with. Joining government or outside government. So there has to be a center. Yes.
Oscar, there has to be a center. And perhaps, that center can only be found if there is a consensus.
Yes.
They have been calling about the convention of NDC. Yeah. And, NDC, that's where a lot of discussion takes place and ratification of the party, communication and decisions is made. But then now, this one is going to be one that last stroker that's going to break the camel's back.
Yeah, you see, today there's a meeting, the next meeting. I don't think so, that the Secretary and this other, and the Sotsi and the other chairman will be able to attend because of probably they will feel not wanted. The last time we had the same in Kilifi, the next meeting that was in NDC meeting that was in Kilifi, they did not attend. Now I don't know if today they will attend. Most likely they will not attend. After that next meeting, they have a number of rallies and delegate meetings that they're going to do in Kilifi, in Kwale, and in Mombasa, in 3 counties, until Friday. The schedule is very, very tight. I don't know how the party leader will going to make it to do all those things. The schedule is very, very tight. On Saturday, Linda Mwananchi ODM, led by Sifuna and Orengo, have a meeting, a public rally in Kilifi. After these guys are finished on Friday. These guys are finishing on Friday, then on Saturday, there's a Linda Mwananchi meeting in Kilifi by Orengo and Sifuna's group. So it's all system go. The difference, the divide is so clear, and now people, as he says, have taken rigid positions. Secondly, issue of one of the things that they're saying they're going to discuss is how to do cooperation or work with UDA. Legally, ODM is a member of Azimio coalition. As we speak now, ODM has not come out of Azimio coalition.
Yes.
It's a member. According to our rules, a party cannot be in 2 coalitions at the same time.
Yeah.
You cannot be a member of Azimio and at the same time you're a member of Kenya Kwanza. So somebody has to give way, because there are people who want to be in coalition with Kenya Kwanza through a coalition with UDA. And there are people but legally they're still members of the Azimio. So there must be an organization so that within the time they have to come out of Azimio first. Because somebody will go to court and say, you cannot be members of 2 coalitions at the same time.
Yeah.
You cannot ratify being a coalition with UDA and Kenya Kwanza while you are still holding your position in Azimio. You can't do that. Second, legally, the Secretary General for Azimio is Junet Mohammed, although they want to change it to Karoli Omondi now. But Junet Mohammed is the substantive Secretary General of Azimio, who is a member of the Kenya Linda Ground, And now Sifuna and them might be sympathetic to the Azimio coalition because the people whom they were within, some of them are sympathetic to the Azimio coalition. So we have a tickling time bomb within the party. And it is very difficult. And again, you know, when there's conflict, what is conflict? Conflict is when people have incompatible values that you believe in this and I believe in this. But there comes a time, a second degree of conflict, where people take rigid positions. And when people take rigid positions, now they start calling each other's names. Mamlukis and terrorists and who are you and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, they go into direct conflict. People use even guns now and people use... So because now it is getting out of hand. One of the reasons why Sifuna and team might not attend the Kilifi meeting, because they feared of the fear of being probably some other team will come with goons. You can be hurt in such a situation. You get me right? And it has happened. It has happened before when goons come to invade even the NDC, you know, men in black and all these type of things. And now people also care about their lives also. So it becomes very difficult. That at that level, it's conflict in its direct position. And that is where they're heading to. And coming out of this will be what we witnessed after the death of Jaramogi. We ended up with another group of Fort Kenya, and Raila Odinga, you know, had to leave and go and form NDP because he had different oppositions from what Wamalwa had, who was the vice chairman then.
Yes.
So this is just history repeating itself. There's nothing new on planet Earth. It will go like that. The only problem is that the person who holds it to the last minute, the first one to blink, somebody will have to leave. Number three, issue of zoning. I think which has a problem also with the ODM, Linda 190, is that UDA also called their aspirants to State House last week. Among the aspirants that were called to State House, from Siaya County, for example, we had 92 people who want to contest on UDA ticket. So that means that they're also doing their groundwork there. So it's a problem because even to the president feels that, oh, waiting for ODM to organize itself might also injure me as a president. Yeah, you get me right. Because he really wants a united ODM to help him achieve whatever is achieved. But again, he must also be very sure and say, can I really have time to wait for ODM to organize itself? And the president, I think, might decide, let me go to the ground, talk to the people of Nyanza as an individual and see what I can get from there.
ODM is a national party.
ODM is a national party.
It's a national party.
It's a national party, but now, you see, when they talk about zoning, they're saying where the party has the best...
Okay. Great. Molimu, look at it this way. You've been a member of ODM sometimes in the past, right?
I was nominated.
Not sometimes in the past.
Exactly.
I was a member for the longest.
All right. Now, when you see such happens, what do you think is now running through the minds of electorates, number one, ODM supporters nationally speaking, and now we have got different factions. Probably we have now Linda Nchi, Linda Ground, and another one. Linda Comrade. All these factions are happening, and we are likely to see a lot of traction taking place moving forward. What does that really mean to you, dear?
The most important thing is where Raila Odinga left the party and the position of the party at the time when Raila left. And I think that is where most members will look at. And Raila Odinga left ODM in broad-based government. The Orengos and the Sifunas were not as bold as they are now. They were not.
Why?
They were not because...
Why are they bold
because
right
now? In the absence of Raila, they are now emboldened. That's a fact. But the truth of the matter is that ODM has okayed negotiations for a coalition with UDA. That's the biggest development, and let's not lose sight of that. And the president is very keen to see a coalition with ODM because there's already broad-based in place. I've told you there are 5 ministers.
Which ODM?
There are 5 ministers. The ODM legitimate with a party leader called Oburu Odinga. That is ODM. Anything else is just but a joke. So the coalition the broad-based already has 5 ministers, 17 PSs, and the rest, so that nominally ODM is in broad-based and with Kenya Kwanza. The only thing that needs to be legitimized is a coalition, and I believe that will be the key thing in the NEC. It may not even be of agenda on Sifuna and the other team. They can as well do whatever they are doing. But what is key is a structured coalition framework with UDA. That is what the followers of ODM,
but what
what the supporters of ODM will respect.
Okay. So what is important?
And you know the game is over.
What is important?
The game is over.
Party, unity of the party, or coalition? Why are people so much into coalition with UDA but not strength of ODM as a party? But even ODM is already in a coalition.
Now the issue here.
Okay.
That's a question to me. If there is a move to have a coalition, these are two distinct parties negotiating a framework of a coalition. It is negotiated.
Yes.
And is provided for in law. And this does not mean that one of the parties is weak or disorganized or whatever. No, all those are perception and politics. And these are the groups we are seeing trying to pursue, trying to pull in the opposite direction, and is wrong. It's trying to present the wrong picture. The key thing here, the most significant development is a working coalition between Kenya Kwanza and ODM. And that one is not if, but it is when. Because already the precursor to it is a broad-based government. Who is the Minister for Finance in this country is John Badi, the former chairman of ODM and a member of ODM for that matter. And I can go on to name the other ministers. So that the top, the who and who in ODM are in the cabinet. So that then the only progress that ODM needs to make is to enter into a signed agreement and structured framework of a pre-election with the Kenya Kwanza team, Kenya Kwanza formation, because Kenya Kwanza has got Ford Kenya, it has very many other parties, but with UDA. So that is a political fact, political development, and it is not that the president will go and deal directly with the voters at the grassroots bypassing ODM. He will not do that. The president respects the parties that he has signed agreement with, and even the jurisdiction. Because we came from the by-elections. And you see,
yes,
UDA did not field candidates in Ugenya, in Kasipul, and in Magarini. It did not. It supported ODM.
Okay.
And ODM did not field candidates in Malava, in Bere, and in Vanessa.
Thank you.
So already,
Oscar, when you look at
direction has been shown.
I know what happens. When you look at the Daily Nation there, what does it say? Uhuru Kenyatta, there's something about Uhuru Kenyatta?
Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, I think it's on the front page.
The front page is ODM crisis talks after Uhuru Azimio move.
Okay.
Uhuru's Azimio move. Yes. That means that they've gone to wake up Azimio. And they know whatever Association is talking about of this coalition. I've told you by law, you're not allowed to belong to two coalitions at the same time.
Yes.
ODM is already a member of the Azimio coalition. So the process starts like this.
So Azimio is resuscitated.
It's resuscitated.
It's back to life.
Yes.
We have got 2 or 3 different factions in ODM.
Yes.
Which one is going to go to each faction and which is going to remain with UDA? That's the question.
The one of, you see, even what Association talk about, I ask, which ODM are you talking about? He's talking about legitimate ODM. The legitimate ODM, the party leader is, according to, is Oburu Odinga, and the party secretary general is Sifuna. So that is the legitimate ODM.
Yes.
But again, the functions are that Sifuna is Linda Mwananchi and Oburu is Linda Ground. Those are the functions. De facto. De facto means that not by law. De jure means by law, this is what is going to take place. So the coalitions are there, and ODM is a member of Azimio coalition as we speak now. We might talk about this politics and as it talks about, but the reality is in paper, ODM is a member of the Azimio coalition.
So who wants the legitimate ODM? Azimio or UDA?
UDA is not in a coalition with ODM.
Not
and
yet.
Raila,
Not
and again, what Susian is saying,
yes,
that these guys were not speaking out when Raila was there. That is not true. Orengo, Sifuna, and these guys were talking, and Raila used to say, Orengo and Sifuna are talking the language of the party.
They were mumbling.
Number three,
They were mumbling.
Number three, what he's talking about that ODM is where Raila left it at broad-based. These are the young people who are agitating, who have a lot of energy, are saying 4 months down the line, Raila Odinga died. They have to have a move, they have to make decisions. Even what Winnie was talking about in Mombasa at that time, he said that the person who actually was in charge of this arrangement was Raila Odinga himself. In his demise, people need to sit down and counter-check again where do you want to move?
Okay.
The young people are saying, some of them want to go to Azimio, some of them want to go to UDA.
Let me ask you, Crispus, do you remember one day Raila Odinga said that Raila Odinga, probably we cannot get it right now, but he said that Raila Odinga might not be here today, but ODM will live thereafter, even after Raila Odinga. You remember that statement? Perhaps it was in some convention he had a meeting with ODM members. But that is not coming to pass. The split is here right immediately after his demise.
It's quite unfortunate that he had a very strong desire for the party to continue existing even beyond him. But while he was the party leader, he did not build a succession plan for the party. That is where the problem is. Because all these issues were obviously glaring to him, and probably he was confused. Who should I bless as my heir to this party? And who should I not? And if I do choose one person over the other, what will happen to the party? Probably the party will collapse under my leadership. So he chose not to go to that path. But unfortunately, leaving that issue unattended to has now brought in very serious consequences, where the party is has a possibility of being hijacked by Kenya Kwanza, as it appears, or being saved by Sifuna and Orengo, who are now clearly showing that they are the real believers of the values and principles of ODM. They are not being driven by the desire to hold on to power at the expense of abandoning the legitimate cause of ODM.
Who wants ODM stable between all these factions? Who really wants ODM to survive in its original form?
Orengo, Sifuna, Babu want to retain the true spirit of ODM. Whether that spirit is in a government or not, but it remains a sacred ODM as it was founded 20 years ago. But there are those people who have now gone to government and they have tasted power. You know, ODM was created 20 years ago to capture power, but it has never captured legitimate power, where an ODM president is running this country. ODM has always found itself in government through handshakes, broad-based, some form of arrangement. But where it has power and makes decisions on its own, it has never been. But now they have been able to join government through a broad-based arrangement where they've been able to exercise some sort of power. And now they are saying, this thing is very sweet. We cannot abandon it just because we want to remain as ODM as we were 20 years ago. So they are saying we need to coalesce with the UDA. And it means they will have to divorce themselves from Azimio. So probably some of the discussion that will happen in the next today will be about divorcing from Azimio and now preparing themselves to join form another coalition of UDA, ODM for 2027. So Sifuna might be just somebody we are looking at here, but the bigger issue we need to discuss is the future of ODM in Azimio and of future of ODM with UDA.
Yeah. Well, I want to give you just 2 minutes.
We get
just
back
2
to
minutes,
some
if you can
history.
kindly. Yes.
Some history, just to paraphrase. I like the idea of ODM when it was formed 20 years was to capture power. And ODM would be very happy to see one of their own in power. If you examine ODM 20 years ago.
In power or capture power?
Yes, in power.
Yeah.
If you look at ODM 20 years ago, who are the members of Pentagon? William Ruto. Who is now the president. Who else was a member of ODM? Musalia Mudavadi, who's now the prime cabinet secretary. So the mission has been achieved. And the fact is, you can't deny an historical fact that President William Ruto is a founder member of ODM. That's a fact. Many of us were in ODM. For some reason, people parted ways. But the broad-based arrangement was a reunion of the original ODM itself. And it's agreed that it is working, it is the best. Those top party leaders who have joined the broad-based and their respective constituencies are also showing very strong indications that they are satisfied with this arrangement. So the only thing that needs to be done is to legitimize a coalition to fulfill the requirements of the law, despite ODM having their own original member as the President of the Republic, despite ODM having one of the original members as Prime Cabinet Secretary. And that is how nature has favored ODM over the years. So really, those are fundamental facts that you cannot push them away. And simply because of trying to glorify ODM to remain in a radical corner and in oppositionist agenda and getting out of government, I don't think that was the intention of creation of ODM. Even many of us who were fanatically in ODM in 2007. Because Victor, Victor.
No, we are running out of time.
In 2007, 2007, even the entire Rift Valley was a bedrock.
I want to ask you a question. So what happens next to the likes of Sifuna if he's kicked out? Just briefly.
You know, political space is very unfair. It is fair and unfair. It is the rule of the jungle operates. The weak will be edged out, and that is how things work. And you'll know that you are weak when you get to the ballot in 2027. They may not know now, but 2027. It will show. This was seen in the by-election. Victor, this was seen in the by-election. ODM swept all the seats in the original bedroom. And UDA swept all the seats in the rest of the country.
I'm doing political analysis. If I was to advise people who think like Sosion and the president, for example, this is from a hostile takeover. A hostile takeover will not work with our current constitution, with our current legal and protection with our political party. A hostile takeover is not going to work out. The weak that are going to be edged out, I'm promising you, probably Oburu might be edged out, Oburu's team. That could be the weak. You say it's the rule of the jungle, the weak versus the strong. I'm telling you from today, they're going to do rallies. What the ODM Linda ground, the Wangan group and team needs is energy. The other side has that energy, and you will see it on Saturday. So a hostile takeover might not help the president. I don't know if the UDA and the presidency and the coalition, I don't think, by saying that they will be edged out, edging them out might not really work so easily for them. Unless the system in UDA will want a divided ODM so that they get their own space there, which I suspect could be the case also. But I think a united ODM, from what my colleague is talking about, that there's a team that wants an ODM that goes for power even in 2032. There's a futuristic thinking. Who are seeing 2032 and 2042? And there are people who are seeing contemporary, let's eat what we can get now, and then forget about it.
Okay. Crispus, it's going to be tough.
Well, for me, I would say there was an attempt to wrestle Jubilee from Uhuru Kenyatta at the beginning of this administration.
It's been a court battle back and forth
and they failed. I am hopeful that that attempt on ODM will also fail. We need ODM as an independent party which is able to check this government and any other government where they are not in power.
Okay. I promise to do this again next week. We know how to do it. It's exactly 8 sharp. Director is so tough on me today. Christmas for Thimba. Thank you so much. Okay. I know what's running between I know. I know. Okay, let me start with him.
Saying we must have ODM that can check government. Are you suggesting that ODM is perpetually condemned to remain an opposition party? No. It will be part of government in the grand coalition that is coming before 2027.
Thank you.
Watch this space will be here.
What's your name, sir? What's your name, sir?
My name is Wilson Sosia.
Title?
Lifetime member of ODM.
Distinguished trade unionist.
Exactly. Veteran. And Oscar Mondi, who is a political and governance expert, is also a university don.
Today he lost.
Asante engineer Christmas. Today is
Thank you.
So quite. It's New Year.
Yeah.
It's New Year. Thank you so much for watching. Let's take a break. GMK continues for this. Good morning.